So I saw this meme on Facebook of taking the Black Panther movie poster, and the meme was, let's not forget the first black superhero, and after him is Black Panther, indicating that Blade was the first African American black character in a comic book film. And while certainly I respect that Blade was a good vampire movie, was a good movie altogether. Wesley Snipes was great in it. The first two were great. Let's not talk about the third. While this is certainly important in terms of the cinematic universe, let's also respect where how important both Luke Cage and Black Panther are. I mean, Black Panther first appeared in Fantastic Four issue number 52 and 53 in July and August 1966. There are literally no black or African American superheroes before Black Panther. He's literally the first black superhero. And what's interesting is he's not African American, he's African, or rather, he comes from a fictional, continent in Africa named Wakanda. And, so he would visit, as an emissary, the United States. But, the point is he's African rather than African American, i.e. not born in America. Anyways, he first appeared in Fantastic Four in 1966. Again, the first black superhero in comics. He later appeared in the Fantastic Four Annual. Don't try to say that 5 times fast. Anyways, the Fantastic Four Annual number 5 in 1967. He would then appear in Tales of Suspense issue 97 and 99 from January to March 1968, and he would meet up with Captain America. Then he would appear in Avengers number 52, May 1968, and he would join the team. And for quite a while, he would be part of the Avengers team, and he would join them, throughout much of the 60s, being a key member of the Avengers, and fighting alongside them, and so on. And now, excuse me, I just woke up, and so I'm not, a little structureless here. Anyways, in Astonishing Tales, 6 through 7, June and August 1971, he would have a few solo stories, with Doctor Doom and so on. Now, it's not until really Jungle Action number 5 that he would have more significant solo adventures, and these were in 1971, and the Black Panther's Rage storyline, and a very important storyline with him going back to his home and reestablishing his rule there. And just after that, he has a storyline where he meets up with the Ku Klux Klan, and would have other adventures during the 70s. And of course, 70s is the era of blaxploitation, where black or African American characters are in the forefront. And now in Captain America number 177 in 1969, we get our second black superhero, and that is the Falcon, or just Falcon. And he would regularly appear with Captain America. In fact, for a while, the title would be Captain America and the Falcon. And he would play a significant role in the Captain America storylines. Now, Misty Knight appeared in Marvel Premiere 21 March 1975. And she would have sort of adventures with Colleen Wing. And it's very much, I guess you would say, kind of Charlie's Angels type of thing with them. And then we get Luke Cage, who appeared in Luke Cage, Hero for Hire, issue number 1, which was in June 1972. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about him in a minute. He would later team up with Iron Fist, and they would have adventures together during the 70s. Now, Blade didn't appear until 1972. 1977. I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry. 1973. I'm looking at someone else. I have notes, and I'm getting confused with my notes. Anyways, he appeared in Tomb of Dracula number 10, June 1973, as a guest character, and he would, later have his own solo adventures. Now, John Stewart, who's made famous by Justice League Unlimited and so on, he appeared in Green Lantern number 87 in 1971. And he would have his own solo adventures a little bit later in the 70s. Now, Vixen, she appeared, she's actually a little late bloomer here. She appeared in Action Comics number 521 in 1981. And as we know, in X-Men A Giant Size issue 1 in 1975, we get Storm, who joins the X-Men, who is also from Africa, immigrates, and resides in Africa as a goddess. And again, Vixen is the late bloomer of African American, Black American superheroes. So I mean, the point is that Black Panther is the first black superhero in comics. And he sets the bar high. And he doesn't have superpowers per se. Some people jokingly compare him to Batman, partly because of the way he looks, but in terms of skill sets, he is working under his own power and his own strengths and his own intelligence, and is able to his ability to understand situations and so on, and his stealth and various other abilities. So he was a significant character on his own, a great asset to the Avengers and helping them out in their adventures. So I mean, point is, he was the first, and that should be respected. I'm very much looking forward to the upcoming live action movie. John Stewart, he really found fame with Justice League Unlimited, and it's largely because of that cartoon that when people think of Green Lantern, they think of him. Hal Jordan is great, and Kyle Rayner became famous for a while. But, John Stewart, he really got acclaimed to fame, again, largely because of the animated series. And, Blade, he's good for... He's not really a super... Well, I correct myself. He has super abilities. Being half vampire, he has abilities. And he did appear on the '90s animated cartoon for a while, and he had two very good movies. And again, like I said, that's to be respected. There was a TV series with Blade that was kind of a reboot, and I didn't think it really went too well. It kind of sort of followed the third movie events, but it also kind of was a reboot, and it did its own thing. Another actor other than Wesley Snipes could play Blade. I can see that. It's just hard to do, and the actor who was in the TV series, he didn't have presence, and he didn't have charisma. He didn't have much of anything. He just did not do well. I'm sorry he didn't. Wesley Snipes, he did well. The third movie, it had a lot of problems, both behind the camera and both in front of the camera, in terms of storytelling and a lot of other elements. Vixen, she did have a brief solo comic book series, which she's mainly been on teams and whatnot. As we know, Black Lightning, he did have his own solo comic for a while, but it didn't last long, only 11 issues or so. But he would later go on to join Batman and his Outsider group, Batman and the Outsiders, and he would become a significant member of their team. But he's Black Lightning is probably one of the most important of the African American characters in DC. John Stewart, again, he was probably the first DC black superhero in comics for the DC brand, and he did have various adventures in the Green Lantern comics as we see here. But Black Lightning, point is, he had his own solo comic, which lasted a while. He did have his own spin-off lines for a little bit. Didn't do as well. Now, Luke Cage, what's important with him is that he is the first black superhero to get his own title. Various others, such as at first Black Panther and Vixen and Blade and so on, they would be in team books or as backup stories or in other titles, not always in their own solo title. Stewart would be in Green Lantern as Green Lantern, but it's he's part of a greater whole of the Lantern Corps. Black Lightning, he gets his own titled comic, but Luke Cage is the first African American superhero who gets his own title and gets his own comic, and and that should also be respected. I have the essential volumes, and I've been starting reading this volume and very much enjoying it. I did watch the Netflix series, and some bits I like, some bits I don't. It started off well. I didn't like where it went later on. It's on. I'm on the fence with it. But again, I'm looking forward to the Black Panther movie. I'm really looking forward to CW's Black Lightning series, and I really wish it was part of the Arrowverse. Some are saying it isn't, which I think would be a shame. And Vixen here, she actually it started off as in CW's Seed, what they called it, and she had 2 seasons, which were broken up at first in 6 parts, and then for this DVD, and I highly recommend getting this if you liked the Vixen anime, because it adds scenes and adds parts, and it joins the 2 seasons, and it shows more of how she trained and how she get used to her role in life and so on. I would really like to see more of her. They have her grandmother in Legends of Tomorrow, which is cool. Excuse me. And but I like to see this version in a live action. A live action of her appeared in Arrow. Excuse me. And it's done by the actress who voices her. And I really like to see her more live action solo stories. But I'm really looking forward to CW's Black Lightning. It's supposed to be a short season, i.e., limited number of episodes. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But anyways, getting back to Luke Cage. He was the first African American superhero to have his own title. He had, basic powers. In some ways, he kind of has the same power level as Golden Age Superman. Golden Age Superman didn't fly, or you hear the leaping tall buildings and whatnot, but he had tough skin and he was very strong. Well, Luke Cage kind of has that. He's super strong. He has very tough skin. He cannot be easily hurt. And he can be a bit of a brawler, but he is a very interesting character. I like his stories and his adventures and where he goes. At first he works in a old movie theater, and the guy keeping it is called D.W., and he's named after D.W. Griffith, the silent movie director. And I kind of understand why they did not have that character in the Netflix series, given Griffith's association with the movie Birth of a Nation. But whatever. I kind of preferred the comic book Dr. Bernstein, because he was more redemptive and more trying to make amends for what he did and what happens. Where he was experimenting with Luke, and the experiment went haywire, and so Luke got juiced up with these massive powers. The live action version in Netflix, he was a little bit too sniveling for me. And I understand what they're going for. They're going for, again, the blaxploitation 70s vibe, and even the title had a very 70s vibe. But anyways, I very much enjoy Luke Cage's comics. It's very much of the 70s era, and you just have to accept that. I mean, again, you have to accept his disco look. A lot of people make fun of it. I have no problem with it. It's of its time. I have always said in all my videos, when you look at something older, you have to respect the time period it was made. So, I mean, Luke Cage, disco look, it's of its time period. It's, of a fashion sense of the time period. It's going for a look of the time period. And, I have no problem with it. It is what it is. Again, I enjoy the stories. I enjoy the character. I respect that he has his own title and is working on his own for a while. After a while, due to selling issues, he did team up with Iron Fist, but I very much highly respected that, because it's, in some ways, the Iron Fist and Luke Cage stories, I would say, are on the same level of the Green Lantern, Green Arrow storylines of the 70s. Where it's these two different people of two different worlds, two different sets of powers, working together, dealing with social issues, and dealing with issues to the time period, and so on. For Luke Cage and Iron Fist, it's two ethnic, superheroes working together, and being good friends together, and the two cultures coming together. The Black Panther stuff I have not read as much. I've read all of the of this series of Black Lightning, of his original run. I've not read as much of Green Lantern as yet with John Stewart. I've only been reading Silver Age Green Lantern at present, but I've read all of this to prepare for the CW series. To get to know the character more. I've enjoyed this comic book run, and I've yet to read a little more of Black Panther. I don't know if I'll have read enough by the time of the movie. If not, that's fine. It's not like I can't read after. There have been versions that I personally have not enjoyed, that I feel did not embrace multiculturalism, and I understand where those versions are coming from. And those versions specifically got adapted for the stop motion Black Panther animated series. Again, I understand where they're coming from. I understand their anger, but because they're coming from a place of anger, it's hard for some to relate to. And I personally kind of, found it difficult to relate to. But I really look forward to reading his solo stuff. I look forward to, his movie. And again, Black Panther should be respected. He's the first, just as Luke Cage is the first to have his own comic. Yes, in terms of movie, Blade should be respected. But, just appreciate actually everything you have with these, black superhero comics. Panther coming first, then Falcon, then John Stewart, Luke Cage, then Blade, then Machine Knight, then Storm, then Black Lightning, and then Vixen, and I'm sure there were tons of others that I haven't mentioned yet, and whose name I can't think of off the top of my head. Maybe you guys can name some in the comics. There's one specifically that joined the Legion of Superheroes, whose name escapes me at the moment. But we have a profound history here of black and African American superheroes, and let's also respect who are the people that created these superheroes. Jewish men. Jack Lee and Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Kirby does not get enough respect. Jewish men creating a black superhero. They're very much aware of what they're doing. Not all comic book writers are Jewish, but it's Jewish comic book writers that gave us the comic book genre superheroes to begin with: Batman, Superman, and a lot of others. And they gave us Black Panthers, so they're highly aware of what they're doing, and because they're people that grew up in Jewish slums. Superman is the Golden Age version in as I talked about a little bit before. During the Great Depression, is very much dealing with social issues, and being written by these Jewish men who have grown up in these Jewish slums, just as these Jewish men who grew up in Jewish slums are writing Batman and Black Panther. So they are very understanding of minorities and the importance of giving the just due to minorities, and and stuff like that. It's multiculturalism, which is highly important, especially in a time like now. You respect all cultures, and I think that's kind of my problem with things like the animated Black Panther and a little bit with the Netflix Luke Cage series, as sometimes it doesn't always embrace the multiculturalism, and I feel that's kind of a mistake. Again, I understand where the animated Black Panther is coming from. I understand where the Netflix series is coming from. I understand what they're trying to say. I personally just always agree what they're saying. You know, I'm sure there are plenty of people who have different views about these, these things than I do, that highly enjoyed it and are great fans of that, and that's perfectly fine. You know, I'm coming up with my own opinions here. Again, I prefer the multiculturalism. I prefer the Black Panther who works with others, such as in the animated series Adventures Earthrise Hero. I like that animated version of Black Panther, because he's at first reluctant to get help from someone else, and he only stealthily, in terms of stealth, is trying to get information from Adventures. And, at first he doesn't want them in Wakanda, but then he reluctantly gets their help, and then he joins their team, and then he sees that the old ways weren't really as helpful as they were, and I see that things now have to change a bit, and I have to go expand our views and change things. I kind of like that, and cultures working together, because I feel, especially in America, that is something that should be highly important. Different cultures working together. That Captain America can work side by side with Vulcan. That Luke Cage can work side by side with the Iron Fist. That Black Lightning can work side by side with Batman, and these other people of different skin colors, different cultures, and that Black Panther can be on the Avengers, and that Vixen can be on part of the Justice League, and and so on. Is that these different cultures coming together and working together? I really much prefer that, and again, I'm looking forward to the Black Panther movie. I hope they do it well, and I have high hopes for it, just as I have high hopes for the Black Lightning series from CW. Especially at that trailer. That trailer was really awesome, and I really look forward to seeing it on the CW. Again, I really wish it could be part of the Arrowverse, as we call it. And I hope we get to see more Vixen. We'll probably get the Vixen with the Legends of Tomorrow, and although, to be honest, Legends of Tomorrow means special writers, so I'm sorry, but they do. But anyways, I'm really looking forward to the CW series with Black Lightning. But anyways, that's what I mainly want to talk about this morning. Sorry I'm not fully up when ready here, but I felt it was important to talk about, and hope you've enjoyed my ramblings here. And go out, read some Black Panther comics, read the Black Lightning comics. I really enjoyed reading this trade. It was great fun. Really enjoyed the stories. I've been enjoying reading this first volume of Essential Luke Cage. I look forward to reading more Black Panther and John Stewart, and so on. Anyways, take care, guys, and have a good afternoon.